Hello everyone, my name is Trish Conner-Cato. Welcome to the WordPress video course. So if you want to use Bluehost, you can just go to bluehost.com. It's also in the theme aisle article, a link to get to it, but you can go to bluehost.com if that is what you're going to choose for your web hosting, and then I'll walk you through the installation steps. And so on the bluehost.com webpage, you want to click on the hosting and websites drop down where my arrow is pointing. And you have the opportunity, I think there's 3 different types of hosting that are listed there. And I chose shared hosting. So if you choose shared hosting, the next screen you see will look like this. And it actually says shared hosting on it, which is good for people like me. Sometimes I work so fast, I select the wrong thing. So this lets me know that I select the right type of hosting that I want, which is shared. And so when you click on Get Started, then you're going to see your plan choices and select the plan. I'm bringing up the page now. Select the plan that you want. So you have a 12-month tab at the top, and then you have a 36-month tab. I'm going to leave it on 12 months. But you have 4 different plans: Basic, Choice Plus, Online Store, Pro. It gives you the pricing, lets you know what it's for, right? For one blog or site. Choice Plus is for adding privacy and security features. Online Store is great to start selling online, and Pro gives you more power with optimized web resources. They all let you know that they will auto-renew at the regular rate. And then your hosting, and I believe you're charged annually for these. So your hosting capabilities are listed underneath each plan, as well as website, security, marketing, and e-commerce, depending on the plan. So once you select your plan, then you're going to have to address your domain. And so you can create a new domain, or you can use one that you already own, or you can make one later, right? So if you're going to create a new domain, you can put in what you'd like it to be called, what extension that you're using on it, .com, for example. .com actually drives more SEO than any other dot, so just so you know that. Or if you use a domain that you own that's not currently being hosted by Bluehost, it will walk you through the steps a little bit later in the process of how to transfer that domain from one hosting provider to this one. So once you set up your domain information on this screen, then you'll be filling out your personal information to create your account on the website. You can also sign in with Google to speed up the process. Next, you'll have to confirm your plan details. So you want to be careful when you get to that screen. Bluehost has several premium add-ons by default, so make sure you go through them carefully and remove ones you don't need. And I believe that they vary which ones they have there as default ones, but they can include like domain privacy and protection, site lock security essentials, code guard basic, Bluehost SEO tools, that kind of thing. So if you don't want to include them, you need to exclude them by unchecking them. Otherwise, they'll be included, and when you get to how much it's going to cost you, you're going to be like, what in the heck is going on? So this is the screen I'm talking about here, and this is just a screenshot from the internet. It's not mine. This is a screen, and you notice it has that domain, privacy, code guard basic, and site lock security checked. So the total at the bottom is reflecting that information as well. You'll also be prompted for a phone number and email address to send your receipt to. It may recommend that you have it sent to an email that's not affiliated with your domain. And you have the option of choosing the number of years you want the plan for, which you saw the 12 or 36 months. After confirming your choices, you'll be able to enter your payment information and process the transaction. And then you'll be able to log into Bluehost, and you'll see that screenshot there. So, depending on what you want to do when you get there, this is showing you logging in on the left, going to My Sites, and then on the right, going to Create Site. When you create a site, you give it a name and a tagline, which is optional, or you can change it later, right? And then you'll do next. And then before you get to the WordPress installation, you'll have to choose your domain name. It might pop up automatically there since you chose it earlier. Otherwise, you just select it from that domain drop-down. And then you will click Next, which is not showing on the screen. And it will automatically start installing WordPress for you. And so you'll automatically, after it's done installing WordPress, you'll automatically get your brand new WordPress website along with login credentials, right? Which that information has been emailed to you. And then you could simply click on Login to WordPress to get into WordPress. Now, if you chose another hosting provider, the process might be a little bit different, but each provider should be able to provide you with step-by-step installation instructions. Because we're using a hosting provider, it installed WordPress for us using an auto installer script. If you are self-hosting via a direct download of free WordPress software, you would have to go through the installation steps to install the software. And another thing, if you're using an already established domain, normally the domain DNS takes 0 to 8 hours to propagate, and it's known to take up to 48 hours maximum to completely propagate. The propagation time varies depending on the geographic location. In the meantime, you will be assigned a temporary URL, and some functionality will be limited. So your screen should look similar to mine if you logged into WordPress. At the top of the screen, of course, you're seeing the hosting provider, Bluehost. And above that, you see the WordPress interface. So along the top, we have some quick options on a toolbar. And over on the left side, we have different panels that contain your site's functionality. And we'll go over those shortly. So earlier, we talked a little bit about the directory structure where you could find, for example, your plugins and your themes. And your database, which contains all of the information from your site, is stored on your provider side, not in WordPress. So just to show you where to go to see your directory structure, at the top of your screen, you're in the white area. You're going to hover over Bluehost, and you'll see that it says go to your Bluehost control panel. And that's what we want to do. On the left side, you're seeing this is all Bluehost things. It is not anything to do with WordPress other than you can log into WordPress from here. So we're going to go on the left side, we're going to click on Advanced. And I've put a privacy blocker on the right side of my screen, but under Advanced, you're going to select File Manager, and that's where you'll see your directory structure. It stores all of your website info in the public HTML folder, so I'm going to expand that folder. And then it's stored in the WP-content subfolder. And you can see that you have plugins, themes, uploads. So by default, out of the box, the core comes with some themes, and we can do the plus sign in front of themes. And each theme has its own folder. So if we expand, say, the Sinatra folder, you'll see a different bunch of subfolders, one of which is template parts. And when you expand that, you'll see that it has different folders for the content, the entry, footer, header, so on and so forth for templates. So these are core themes that are in there, and they're based on templates, and those are the different parts of the templates. I'm going to collapse the themes folder and expand the plugins folder, and these are all the plugins that come out of the box with WordPress core. So we'll be revisiting plugins in detail when we get to Module 5, but I just wanted to let you know, since I referenced it earlier, that it's from your hosting provider that your website information is stored. It's not stored in WordPress. To get back to WordPress from here, I have my address bar hidden. So I'm going to just hover over here, and you can see that it opened this in new window. So I'm going to close both of those cPanel tabs. And I have the Bluehost Portal tab there. And you can log back into WordPress if it didn't keep you logged in. Now, in my case, it did keep me logged in, but just wanted to show you how to get out of there. So you can make your way back to your WordPress site. And we're going to take a tour of the WordPress interface. And I'm going to start at the top with the quick options bar that runs along the very top of the screen. And the first thing you'll see up there is the WordPress logo. And when you hover over that, it gives you information about WordPress. You can get to WordPress.org from there, documentation, support, and offer feedback. The next icon is the house, and it says the name of your site. And when you hover over that, you can actually visit your site, which we haven't built yet. This next icon is indicating that there is some kind of updates available. And I'm going to click on it. It has a 1 next to it. And so, yeah, it's taking me to WordPress updates. Now, some of these pop-ups kind of take up space. So anything that I don't need, I'm going to use the X to its right to close. If there's anything that has an X, you can go ahead and close it. So these are WordPress updates, right? You have several different plugins that come with WordPress core. And this message, please set up website analytics to see audience insights, is based on Monster Insights plugin. So it comes out of the core, but it needs to be set up. It says your site is currently displaying a coming soon page because we haven't built anything. And you'll learn how to launch your site a little bit later. It gives you the current version, that you have the latest version. If you need to reinstall it, you can do it there. And then it lets you know if any of the plugins that come with the core have updates available, and they do. One of them does. So you'll notice on the left now, it took you to dashboard, and we're looking at updates, and we got there by doing this circular arrow with the 1 on the quick options toolbar. The next one is if you have any notifications or comments. So I click on that one. When you create a WordPress site, it gives you a placeholder comment, so to speak. So if you want to view that post, right, this is where you could comment on that post. It puts a post in here and it gives you a default comment. But if you wanted to view that post, you could click this link here. So this is just the default post that you get when you get to your site. your very new site that you haven't done anything on. And I just used the back arrow on my browser to get back to the comments page. And because we went there from the quick options, if you notice on the left, it now has you on comments. So if you were navigating the left bar, that's where you would go to get to where we are. Back to the top bar, the new button, you can start a new post, you can add new media, new page, new user, new form, new pop-up from that drop down. And then you have an icon that looks like the letter Y, and when you hover over it, it says SEO settings. So remember, that's search engine optimization. And there is a plugin that comes with the core named Yoast, and that is actually the Yoast icon that we're hovering on. And so you get its default free version included in WordPress, but it can be upgraded to a premium version. The next area is caching, where you can purge all and get to your cache settings. And then you have Insights. So this Insights is that Monster Insights plugin where it's telling you that you need to set it up, right? So if we click on Insights at the top, it's going to give us the same message that it needs to be set up. The next one is WP Forms. Another plugin that comes automatically with the core. It's a really cool tool to build forms with. And it does have a pro version that you can upgrade to. Then you have your need help. To the right of that, you have your site status, which is coming soon. We don't have anything. And then you have, I think these are notifications. Yeah, these are every notification I got that's read, unread in those categories. And then you have your account information. So that is the tour of the top bar. So now we're on the comments page, and we were able to view that Hello World default post that the comment is in response to from the comments page. Well, let's start on the left again. So on the left, let's click on Jetpack. Jetpack is another plugin that comes out of the core with WordPress. And you'll notice when we select Jetpack, it expands. So this is the Jetpack options: dashboard, settings, stats, search, and my Jetpack. Then we get to post on the left side. So when I click on post, it's automatically showing me all posts. Now, I will warn you, because of the resolution I need to use for creating this video, and it only seems to happen on my post page here, the left side looks really compressed. But I'll show you a screenshot of what this should look like and what it probably looks like on your screen. So because of my resolution, mine turned vertical. So underneath that Hello World post, it says Edit, Quick Edit, Trash, View, and there's an updated one, fairly new. I believe this is as of January 2023, that mine also has, that says Blaze. So mine just happened to be vertically oriented, and I can read them, but this is what it should look like on your screen. So this is where your posts will be in WordPress. The comments are in a different section, which we just saw. So if I wanted to view this post, I can just click on my vertical view word here. And there it is. And I can use my back arrow to go to the previous screen. We will talk more in depth about these options when we get to module 3, our next module. We'll go into detail about what you can and cannot do in here. So if you notice on the left, we're still on post, right? We're seeing all of them. You can go to add new. You can go to categories, and we'll be doing that in our next module. And then you get to media. And we will be addressing media in Module 4. All right? And then we'll go back to our posts and add media to some of our posts and page that we're going to create. Next thing you have is your pages. So when you start a new WordPress site, it gives you a sample page and a draft privacy policy page. And we'll revisit pages again. We'll touch on them briefly in Module 3 and then really dig in Module 4. We already looked at comments. OptiMonster is that it's a plugin, so we're going to skip that. So is Creative Mail. Feedback will be where you will find any form responses that you get should you create a form using WP Forms and have it on your site. Then you get to appearance, and this is where you can pick your theme for your site. We will be revisiting in the next module. You have, and I have, a number 1 next to my plugins. And so when I click on plugins, this is where I can see a full list of all of the plugins that come out of the box. And also it's letting me know that there's a new version. That's why I have that number 1 next to plugins. And we saw that from our notification screen earlier. Then we get to users, and we're going to revisit users. I'm going to skip it for now. Our next topic in this module is users. And we'll hover over tools, and you'll see that you have available tools, import, export, several other options there. We will be learning about importing and exporting content when we get to Module 4. So we'll come back here then. And then you get to settings, and we're going to click on settings. This is the general settings page, and it has some information about at the top, it's really pushing you to set up your website analytics. It lets you know that your site is currently displaying a coming soon page, and once you're ready, you would launch your site. It has the site title and the tagline. So when I created this site, I put in a tagline, and in here I just changed it to say Learn It WordPress video course. It gives you the WordPress address and the site address. I have a privacy blocker at the bottom of the screen for the administration email address. And then there's a membership checkbox for anyone can register. You notice I'm leaving mine unchecked. Again, we're going to talk about users in the next part of this module. So that is the default user role. For a new user would be subscriber, and you'll learn what that means in just a few. You'll get your site language here, the time zone that you're using, and you can do the drop down there, your UTC time, or you can put in a city name, something like that, to get the right time for yourself. You can choose the date format and time format for your site, and there's a link there for documentation on date and time formatting. You can say when your week starts. Say my week starts on Sunday. And your cache level, we're not going to deal with this in this course. Once you make changes on this page at the bottom, you have to click Save Changes. So if you've made changes, go ahead and click that. So these are the general settings. You also have writing settings. And so I'm going to click on writing. So here, your default post category, and we're going to really zoom in on post in our next module, but your default would be uncategorized, right? We haven't even built any categories yet, so that is the built-in category. And when we start the next module, you'll learn about the different default post formats. Gives you information about what you need to do to post to WordPress by email. And then it lets you know the update services that are notified by WordPress automatically. You also have reading settings. So you can say your home page displays your latest post or a specific page. Blog pages show at most 10 posts. You can change all of these items. And you may want to come back and change these once we set up our blog and our post in the next module. Revisit your reading settings. You have discussion settings. So other options about your post and your comments. And once we, work on our site a little bit, we will come back and revisit some of these settings, especially reading and discussion. You have media settings where you can change, default image sizes. And then permalinks. I think when we went over common terms, we talked about permalinks, right? Also known as slugs. So this is where you can change the structure. And they're giving you examples here, right? So on mine, I have it set for the slug would be the name of the post at the end of the URL. And you also have, last but not least, privacy settings. So again, when we looked at pages, it gives you a default privacy settings page, which is not enabled. You can enable it if you want to use it, or you could come here to create a new privacy policy page or change your privacy policy page. So if you need to have a privacy policy, as a website owner, it says here, you may need to follow national or international privacy laws. So this is what that is referencing in terms of your settings. And the last two items are two more plugins, Yoast SEO and that Monster Insight. So, and you can also collapse that sidebar to get more working space if you'd like. And so that concludes the main tour. And now we're going to talk about gravatars. So a gravatar is a specific type of avatar. It stands for globally recognized avatar. And that's what WordPress uses. They follow you around the web and automatically appear when you post a comment on a WordPress site. So you can register with Gravatar. The service matches your WordPress profile information to the email address registered with Gravatar and displays your custom Gravatar image next to comments and optionally elsewhere on the site. If you choose not to sign up with Gravatar, the default icon set by the administrator will appear next to your name. So you can do this for free if you want to get a Gravatar. And all you need is an image of yourself. By the way, if you have two different images, we can use two different images for two different users. And so if you look in the upper right-hand corner where my profile information is, you will see that little picture there is my Gravatar. And so how did I get it? If you go to gravatar.com, you can click, if you don't already have an account, you can click on Create Your Gravatar, and this is all you need to fill in to sign up for the Gravatar with a WordPress account. So you would fill this out, create your account, and once you do that, so I've already have mine set up, but it should give you the ability to add an email address or pick an email to modify, it may have your primary address in there, and that is your WordPress email that you used. And then you can add images. So you can see my 2 images. I have 2 different emails that I have privacy blocked. And these are 2 users that I am using in my WordPress account. So if you set up your gravatars, they'll instantly show up in the users section in WordPress. Another way, or if you choose not to use gravatars, under settings on the left, let's go back to discussion and scroll almost all the way to the bottom till you get to the avatar section. So if you want to use gravatars, you have to make sure that show avatars is checked. You can give a maximum rating for your avatars, right? For users without a gravatar, you can give them any of these icons to represent them within WordPress.